What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another edition of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are live here as always on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, if you're new to the channel, do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Make sure to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Smash that follow button and then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you directly to every other social media platform we are available on. If you guys want to be interactive throughout today's show and get your comments or questions pulled up like so, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel specifically. It's the best and only spot for us to see those comments through StreamYard. I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, as always, my man, Scotty. We're going to keep it light today. It's not going to be, it might be an hour show. We never know. We say we're going to go for 30 or 40. It goes for 65. We don't know, Scotty, but we're going to be comparing these two rosters. And by these two rosters, obviously, we mean the big game. We mean the Super Bowl. We're going to be taking a look at this Chiefs versus Eagles matchup, breaking down these position group battles, and kind of seeing where we line that shit up, as my man Marshall would say. But brother, happy Friday. It's rainy out. It's gloomy. It's not the best day. But the weather's getting a little warmer around here compared to a couple weeks ago. And we're just about 9 days away from Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, man. Feeling good on this fine Friday. Just a nice short weekend and some change until the big game. I didn't even know the Pro Bowl was this weekend. That's how much.
Yeah, I didn't even know they were playing games last night.
Yeah,
so I saw some clips on X.
Okay, well, yeah, that shows just how much I care about the Pro Bowl weekend. But yeah, man, I'm excited to get into it kind of with you, rekindle it from Monday. But yeah, still just living the high life, headed to the Super Bowl, man. Maybe next week the nerves will kick in, but I don't know. That's something we'll talk about today. Maybe the nerves won't kick in. Maybe I'm just very confident.
Maybe they're just the better football team. And the reason for this show, man, is not to bore you guys with just, at wide receiver 2, we have Hollywood Brown versus Devontae Smith. Who would you rather have? We're not going to get into anything like that today, but it's basically to come out and say that this Eagles team is different. This Eagles team just might be the most loaded, talented, best Philadelphia Eagles team, best roster we have ever possibly seen in this city. And also to say that this Kansas City Chiefs team, this team that is going for history, that has Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid still on its sideline, maybe doesn't quite feel like previous Chief teams. Maybe it doesn't feel like Goliath. Maybe it doesn't feel like that juggernaut that you just don't know how you're going to get them off the field on third downs. It doesn't feel like that. I know they're 15-2. I know they're back in the Super Bowl. I know one of those losses came with Carson Wentz starting. So realistically, they lost one real football game this entire season. So what do you mean they're not the same juggernaut? They just don't have that explosiveness, that talent. I have a stat that Dan Orlovsky tweeted from our man Hembo earlier this morning that I'll give out later on in the show. But that's what this show is about, breaking down these two rosters and just basically saying, puff the chest out a little bit, Scotty. The Eagles are the better football team heading into this matchup.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, man. There's not as much nerves going into this. It's more of just an execution, man. As Martian said, line that shit up. I am on my lunch break, Martian, so it's been a long Friday.
That's the new Friday schedule.
By my energy levels here, but no, I am excited to get into this with you, and I do have a convo that we can discuss once we do get into these positions, but I am interested in thoughts because I know things have maybe changed since the NFC Championship or maybe, towards the end of the season, whatever the case may be. But it's an interesting conversation nonetheless. And I think we as Eagles fans have to have it. I don't even think it's a combo for people outside of Philadelphia or the Philadelphia fan base. I think it's just for our fan base alone here. But, yeah, I'm excited, man.
I'm interested to know what that
there's
is.
Some interesting groups mixed in here. I will say the Eagles – they overall have the better team, when I look at these rankings head to head. But there were some interesting position groups that I had a hard time deciding on. Yeah. But yeah, man, where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's start on the offensive side of the ball, right? Because I think if there's one thing that you can take away from 2022, it's that points were scored. And this, at the end of the day, still is Patrick Mahomes, right? So let's start there. 38-35, over 70 points scored in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. What's changed? What's the same? Let's look at these two rosters. When you get to the Chiefs, obviously, let's just get it out of the way. As confident as I am in Jalen Hurts in a big game, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's arguably the greatest of all time, the second greatest of all time, the greatest of our generation, the greatest just quarterback, maybe not the GOAT, but greatest quarterback we've ever seen. They have the advantage there. No one is questioning that on this show. I know that Mahomes hasn't had the stats and the numbers, and maybe they've even been eerily similar to Jalen's at times this year when Jalen's getting criticized, but Mahomes is being called a winner. At the end of the day, it's Patrick motherfucking Mahomes, and I'm not going to sit here and try to debate whether or not Jalen Hurts is better. Now, Jalen Hurts kind of outplayed Patrick 2 years ago, so he has the ability to raise his level. But we know that the Kansas City Chiefs, at least I do. There's a smirk over there. Am I misconstruing Scotty's opinion?
No. It's just funny how you worded things. I just thought it was funny. You said Jalen can reach a higher level. That's what I heard. I don't know. That's what I heard.
He did it 2 years ago.
It's what I heard. I'm with you. I have Kansas City written down, but what I did write down was that it's a lot closer than y'all thinking. When I'm talking about y'all, I am talking about Brian. What a welcome to the show, Brian. You're right on time, because I do think this conversation is a lot closer than we all may think as Eagles fans as a whole, myself even. I think it may be a little bit closer. We've all seen the numbers that have been dropped over this week. RG3 put out some very considerable numbers about Jalen Hurts and the success he's had in the NFL and throughout his life. Something that clicked with me that I just wanted to throw into the air, because after I watched Jalen, I watched the mic'd up, right? And you watch Jalen throw that touchdown to A.J. Brown. And you see his reaction and his energy. You see the leadership qualities.
What the fuck I do, Scotty?
And it just begs the question, you would rather have somebody else, let's not say Mahomes, whatever. You would rather have somebody else lead this football team? I'm not trying to get crazy. I'm saying Jalen's more talented than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that. But I'm just asking, would you rather have someone else? You'd rather have corny-ass Mahomes lead this football?
Right. I know what you're saying. Like, when you're going to war.
You can't doubt Mahomes' leadership either. I'm not trying to say that he's a bad leader. I'm not saying that by any means. There's intangibles for both is what I guess I'm trying to say.
I think the graphic, maybe it's not the same graphic, but the graphic you're alluding to, is it comparing their numbers over the last 3 or 4 years or something, where like Patrick is like 46-10 and Jalen's 44 and whatever, and the yards and the touchdowns and the completion percentage and the turnovers, they're all very, very similar. And so I do agree. I don't think it's this fucking Grand Canyon ass gap between quarterback play. And if you need the evidence, just go back to the biggest game of the season 2 short years ago, where Jalen Hurts quite literally outplayed the man on that stage. I think, to your point, when you're given one game, you're given 60 minutes. We're going to war. What I want anyone else to go to war with, it's not necessarily just talent, it's everything else involved. I don't know. The only guy I would say yes to for sure is the dude across the sideline.
That being said, put Mahomes with this talent, but Mahomes is so fucking corny to me, man.
I know.
I don't know. He's just a fucking cornball. So I don't know. I'm off of him, but I do feel you. He's the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give the nod to KC, but I do think it's a conversation, about Hurts. And maybe I'm doing this preemptively. Maybe the conversation comes after you win the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And you start asking these type of questions to our fan base.
Correct.
I think he just shows confident. I know you're confident in Hurts as well. I think it's more you respect Mahomes a little bit more than what I do.
Yeah.
But you have to respect him nonetheless, man. And that's why I do lean KC with the quarterback. But it is a lot closer than what we think. And I think it's a lot closer than what the national public may think as well, man. When they say, Lamar and Josh and Mahomes up here and the rest, I don't know. Maybe it's they're up here and maybe Hurts is like right here and then the rest. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at, but he's growing for me, man.
I mean, 2 Super Bowls in 3 years and all the wins will tend to do that. And then just to see how he does elevate himself in the biggest moments, man, he does. And it's just, yeah, I know he's got the jokes and he's got the
It's
attire.
true. The fade is nice. I'm going to, what I'm going to tell my barber today, Dylan.
Give me the Jalen Hurts.
Give me the Jalen Hurts.
Give me the Jalen Hurts
back.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not riding like that.
I got you.
I'm not riding like that.
Brian.
I'm trolling Brian a little bit there, but yeah, no. It at the end of the day, you go Mahomes for sure.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. But speaking of for sure, to TR's point, the running back room, you can have 4 guys in that room, and you can give me 1 guy in our room, and you could combine all their skills and their talent and everything you want, and they don't even sniff fucking Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Strap. The Eagles, obviously, had the advantage in the running back room, which when we get into this game is going to be one of the biggest deciding factors, because something people don't realize last year, Scotty, when they go back and they talk about, well, the Eagles had Miles Sanders. He rushed for 1,000 yards. Miles Sanders had 16 yards in the Super Bowl. He broke his wrist on the first or second drive. Kenny Gainwell was playing a large majority of this game. And we are not talking about the same Eagles rushing attack, regardless if they had success with it that season, regardless if they had success with it with DeAndre Swift last year. This is on a completely different stratosphere, completely different level. The Eagles clearly take the running back room in this one. I mean, if you have anything to add on, please do. But I think that is as simple as it gets.
It's tough in this case. Not a tough decision. It's tough to add on because it's very simple here. Kareem Hunt. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco. He's been beat up this season. Who's the one white guy they got back there running back?
Steele.
Carson Steele.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go with Saquon here, and I might even go out on a limb and say Gainwell might not start over Pacheco when he's fully healthy, but Gainwell would probably start over Kareem Hunt, man. Like I don't know. Kareem Hunt is
wrong, but they've been starting Kareem Hunt.
Right now. They're starting Kareem Hunt. So So what does that say about?
I can't kick this.
Yeah, I'm not sleeping on Will Shipley either, bro. The way he ran that rock against Washington, he's shown some toughness. He also forced the fumble in special teams.
Big special teamer, Will Shipley, brother.
Yeah, giving Will Shipley some props.
Oh yeah,
I respect it. But
all right, now we'll group this next room. Actually, we'll group the receivers as a whole. So we'll include the tight ends in this one. The pass catchers. Let's say you have a wide receiver and tight end room over there for obviously Xavier Worthy. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins at the deadline. Hollywood Brown is now healthy once the postseason started. Juju Smith-Schuster's back. He played us last time in the Super Bowl. And then Travis Kelce, and then the backup tight ends with Watson and Noah Gray. The Eagles, obviously, AJ, Smitty, Goddard are the 3. You add in Jahan Dotson. I'm going to be honest with you, brother. This isn't close for me, and I don't care that Travis Kelce is on their side. This is the Eagles.
I separated. You
separated the tight end. Yeah, that's fine, and yeah. But from a pass catcher standpoint, it's the Eagles. As a passing attack standpoint, which I know gets all the fucking criticism in the world, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. It's AJ Brown. It's Devontae Smith. Those two, honestly. Obviously, AJ clears all, and Smitty might be their number 1 on their team as well. Xavier Worthy is fun. He's explosive. He's come into his own the last few weeks. That speed is dangerous. Devontae Smith is a better wide receiver than Xavier Worthy is. DeAndre Hopkins was great when they first acquired him at the deadline. He's kind of phasing out in their game plan over there. Hollywood Brown's a deep threat. Juju's Juju. So it's them guys. And then you get into the Kelce and the Goddards. Obviously, from an overall standpoint, Travis Kelce just might be the greatest tight end, the second greatest tight end of all time. This game, who's more important to their team, who gets the ball more, who makes more explosive plays, we'll see. But that edge would go to Kelce. But if I group them all together, it's the Eagles passing attack for me.
Yeah, I do agree with that. From the wide receiver standpoint, I think it's one of the all I wrote was duh. Tight end, I guess I just separated it to give the Chiefs some credit somewhere, right? Not only Travis Kelce, but obviously Noah Gray. He gets
and Justin Watson
as well. So they have 2 like quality tight ends that are involved in their
Yeah.
offense. Versus us, that we have one good tight end. And Greg Alcantara, I'm not saying he's not good. We just will not use him while we have Goddard healthy. So I gave the nod to the Chiefs, but to your point, playoff Goddard, he's
Super Bowl Goddard 2 years ago.
He's a little different. Yeah. So, and he's been hot down the stretch
here. And if we're talking about matchups, which we're not, I know we're just going off of talent, but if we're talking about matchups, tight ends exploit the Chiefs. They did it 2 years ago. The first 2 playoff games of this year, Dalton Schultz had a good game against them. Who did they have last week? Oh, Kincaid. If Kincaid catches a pass, I mean, obviously has a much better game as well. So tight ends do have success against this Chiefs passing defense. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue to utilize Goddard. But I think we would agree, if you're going passing attack, if you're going receivers as a whole, it is the Eagles' room. And now to wrap it up, Scotty, the offensive line, which the Chiefs' offensive line it's damn good. Solid. Yeah. And when you add in Patrick's escapability and his ability to extend plays, whether that's to slide the last second and take a 15-yard penalty, or it's to throw a ball 45 yards downfield on a rope, he extends plays. This line is very good. It's not the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. It is not the best offensive line in the National Football League, which we do, in fact, hold. Cam Jurgens beat up. Landon Dickerson beat up. They are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I promise you guys. That 5 versus our 5, we clear in that area as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree there as well. Went to the numbers just to check. Obviously, rushing, we're a better rushing unit.
Yep.
Similar amount of sacks given up. I think Patrick Mahomes took 2 less sacks than Jalen Hurts this season. So I think it was like 38-36. Right. So it was very close there. Now, obviously, some of our sacks aren't the offensive line's problem all the time as well. So I will go ahead and give the nod to the Eagles. They have the best offensive line in the NFL. They're the most balanced. They're the most versatile offensive line.
Yep.
And not only that, they have depth. They've shown all season times where Mailata's out, times where Jurgens is out. Landon goes down, Jurgens has to come in. Tyler Steen has to come in. It doesn't matter. They're interchangeable. Jeff Stoutland has those guys ready to go at all times, no matter who's stepping on the field. So even Fred Johnson, right, earlier this season. So, yeah, I would go with the Eagles OL as well.
TR, we could definitely do that once we get through both defensive lines. Take a look at their pass rush and their run stoppability versus our line and vice versa. So that's the offensive, right? And I think a large majority of people, not just Eagles fans, would agree. Maybe Chiefs fans don't agree, right? Maybe they're looking at it through their Chiefs lens. They're looking at all their Super Bowl rings and their Lombardi trophies in the trophy cases, and they're saying, well, how are you guys better? How are you guys more talented? We have Kelsey, we have Mahomes. Those are the only 2 spots that you have that are more talented and better than the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, let's get to the difference-making side of the football when you're talking about a comparison from 2022, when the Eagles defense did not force Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to punt. You go back to the Super Bowl, we won. The only stop we got was the last play of the game, the 4th down incompletion, and the strip sack. Every other drive, Brady threw for over 500 yards, and they scored on every other drive. We do not have great success in Super Bowl, Scotty, on the defensive side of the ball in our recent history. How do we change that? And you change that by doing what they have done all year long. What have they done, Scotty? They had the number 1 defense in the National Football League. They had the number 1 pass defense in the National Football League, and they have a top 10 run-stopping defense in the National Football League. They're losing guys in Nakobe Dean. Oren Burks comes in and make plays. Brandon Graham, practice window activated. 55 BG, looking like he's going to get to suit up, and not just suit up. You don't just waste that roster spot so BG has an opportunity to play. BG's going to play in this football game. So he's back. That is humongous for this team. That's the difference-making side of the ball. Let's see how they stack up, Scotty. Let's get to the line, right? When you look at the Chiefs, Karlaftis, Chris Jones, we talk about defensive tackles. We have Jalen Carter. Has he passed Chris Jones? Is he on the same level yet? Is Chris Jones still the best D tackle in football? Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Mike Dana, Pennell is a rotation guy for them. They have a good defensive line, Scotty. How does it match up versus the likes of Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Milton Williams. How's it match up versus ours for you?
This was one where it was very tough. I ultimately decided, I don't know if this is allowed. I went equal here at the end of the day. Given the Chiefs' experience, that's the big thing. The years with Steve Spagnuolo, knowing his system, having all the schemes that do help the defensive line as well, which maybe that is given credit to the defensive coordinator more than the DL. But I just look at Karlaftis. It's a guy that can get to the quarterback consistently, similar to Josh Sweat, who has been getting to the quarterback this year. I just thought across the board, they're kind of equal. You look at Chris Jones and Jalen Carter. I would probably lean the Jalen Carter
right now
is surpassing, but I'm not going to do that going into this football game. I need to see it for myself. I need to see it happen. So I'm giving Chris Jones that respect, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here. There's part of me that, yes, I do feel like Jalen Carter might be better than Chris Jones, but it's still going to be really close. Chris Jones is still one of the best. Tershawn, I think it's Tershawn Wharton. He was like their second leading sack getter. He was another, I believe he's a defensive tackle. So just another guy that can get to the quarterback from the interior. And you look on the inside of our defensive line, you look at a guy like Milton Williams, right, who racked up, I believe, like 5 sacks this year. Jordan Davis, the run stopper. So ultimately, I ended up coming out to kind of an equal grading. And it's more like the Chiefs' defense is talent. Like they do have some guys on defense that can make plays, and most of them are in that front 7-ish. They got some guys in the back. We'll talk about that, but. Yeah, I went with DL equal here, man.
When we finish up these like position group battles on defense, I do want to get into the overall defense because I got some numbers for you that could tell the story of this big game. But I would agree it's very, very difficult. I mean, I'm going through this Eagles defensive line, and I didn't even mention Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, who has 4.5 sacks in this postseason run. It's the most in a postseason, single postseason for an Eagles linebacker of all time. So they're incredibly loaded, right? Even though in the beginning of the year it didn't feel like that. It felt like we lost all the juice. We lost the names. Jalen Hunt, is Jalen Hunt going to be playing in big moments this year? Yeah, he is, and he's doing a damn good job of it as well, man. You got Milton Williams stepping up, and you have guys that you probably thought were going to continue to rise that maybe have taken a step back, like a Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat is not the leader of this defensive line. Like maybe you thought he was going to have to be coming into the year, right? But he's still there as a valuable piece. But when you are talking about that Chiefs pass rush and that Chiefs interior defensive line, they are damn good. And as great as Jalen Carter could be, Jalen Carter just might be the best defensive player on the field next Sunday. They also have a guy up the middle that can be the best defensive player on the field. And that's one of the greatest D tackles of all time who's been there, done that. So we'll see what kind of level Chris Jones is on. But I agree. It's very, very tough. You get to the linebackers, man. You got Dana, you got Drew Tranquill, you got Nick Bolton. You come to our side, you got Zach Bond, you got Oren Burks. I don't know what kind of base. I don't know what the Chiefs are running. But we run 2 out there for a majority of what we do. Bottom line is this. They got names. Again, they got guys that have been there. We got a guy that's a DPOY candidate. We got a guy named Zach Bond. And that clears. That clears for me. I think the Eagles, when you add in that have the more, I guess, dangerous linebacking crew, because I'm going to take it 2-on-2. It's not fair to say, oh, well, I can give you an extra name for what Leo Chenal. Like they have a lot of guys. But no, I'll take Zach Bond and Oren Burks right now over what the Chiefs have.
I came out to a draw here as well, man.
Ooh!
I looked at it as you got 2 playoff-tested linebackers, two guys that have been there for that Chiefs defense. I'm willing to go on a limb and say they're 2 good linebackers.
Yeah.
Zach Bond is a great linebacker. He's a defensive player of the year.
And then Oren Burks is Oren Burks.
Oren Burks, he's made plays. I'm not trying to hate on him. It's just not proven. It's not as reliable is what I'm going with here. So it was basically for me like a 2 versus 1.
Yeah. I get that. I just think I'm thinking of, I guess the way I'm looking at it is we have a guy that can arguably change the game in our group, and I don't view any of their three line. They're good, like you said, as a group, and they're good.
I guess I'm thinking of Bolton changing the play against us in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the fumble. Like I get it. But was that Bolton? I mean, you can't take it away. He changed the game. They scored on it.
What are some of his fumble recoveries? Being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
like I do feel you. I think Bond is better.
Yeah,
I do think Bolton can make plays though.
I agree. I guess what I think Zach Bond can change a game maybe a little bit more than we've seen.
Yeah.
Like the Bolton one, it is a great example and it's on the biggest stage. But it's like, I mean, if Jalen just isn't a dumbass on that singular play, that's not a touchdown. Whereas like Bond's punching shit out, Bond's intercepting before halftime, doing a lot of things. So it's very close. This is the strong suit. Like that's the thing that gets misconstrued about the Chiefs team. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they're Hall of Famers. They might be some of the greatest ever at what they do. They're a defensive-minded team. That's where this all gets misconstrued. So this is the tougher side of the ball. Now we get to the secondary, and they got some names in the secondary as well. Trent McDuffie might be is Trent McDuffie a top 3, top 5 corner in the National Football League? Dude's a stud. Justin Reed, been there. Jalen Watson, and then you get to Shamari Connor in the nickel spot for them, and then obviously you're talking about this Eagles pass defense, which was number 1 in the National Football League compared to the Chiefs pass defense, which was 18th in the National Football League this year. They have Trent McDuffie. They have names. It is not this Eagles unit. Quinyon Mitchell played like a top 3 or 5 cornerback this season. Cooper DeJean in the slot changed everything after the bye when he was inserted in the starting lineup. Darius Slay at age 34 has kind of wound back the clock and become a fan favorite again, which he was kind of going this way for a little bit with play and personality. He's back making big plays for this defense. CJ Gardner-Johnson with 4th and 3rd down stops. Reed Blankenship with interceptions. This Eagles secondary does clear the Chiefs for me, man. Trent McDuffie, stud. Reed, very good. They're not this Eagles secondary, though.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you here. I did separate it against CBs and safeties, but I came out to the same conclusion, both Eagles. So same difference. You can just say all DBs. With Kansas City, it's an interesting thought, man, and I guess people could say the same thing for the Eagles. We'll find out more as time goes on with these corners, but you do just wonder, Steve Spagnuolo, the system and everything that's going on there in KC. How much is that just plug and fill with some of these corners to just come in, play physical, right, and get in the opposition's face, right? As Brian mentioned earlier, a blitz merchant of CBs. So I do wonder about it. That being said, Trent McDuffie, he's a very good corner. To your point, probably a top 5 just off the top of my head. The rest of their DBs, they have experience. I'll give them that. I think that's something that plays a part. They have experience in big games. They have experience with Spags in this system. I just think when you look at the playmaking ability specifically, who's going to come up with a big interception? And I know we be hating on Reed Blankenship, and he got cooked. He got cooked. And we're going to have to be better against Noah Gray. We're going to have to be better against Travis Kelce. I understand that. But Reed Blankenship always comes up with the ball. Somehow, some way, gets the ball. CGJ always finds a way to get the ball. Big play Slay, right? Getting after the ball. Quinyon Mitchell, 2 picks in the last, 4 or 5 weeks or something like that?
Yep.
He's figuring it out. Cooper DeJean is about due. But what I'm saying is we do have depth at those positions as well, which is another huge thing because we've had games where Quinyon goes out. We've had games where Slay goes out and guys have been able to fill in adequately enough to win us ball games, even in the postseason, right? We saw Quinyon go down. We saw, maybe not Slay this postseason, but Quinyon against the Rams.
Slay did get hurt against the Packers, I believe. Like for a second, like if I remember correctly, he went to the line. It's the same game that Nakobe got hurt. Like, so Slay had gone down as well, and then I think Slay came back in to finish. Nakobe obviously done for the year, but I agree. I think there's way much more playmaking ability in this Eagles secondary. This man, Brian, does not need to see the football field on
if he
next
touches
Sunday.
we got issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, let's keep Phanatics out of this chat, at least for now. Abe, what's going on, man? But I agree, Scotty, this Eagles pass defense is much better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge difference, right?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I'm just going to add on right there.
Yeah.
It's the biggest difference between this team and the team that
last year's
team
or 2 years ago. Yeah. No, I agree, bro. And we haven't even talked about the Vic Fangio of it all. And that's another thing that people are running with. Patrick Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio in his career. Vic Fangio's defense not been able to stop Patrick Mahomes. The last time Vic Fangio's defense, which was the Miami Dolphins, played Patrick Mahomes, he threw for $176 and they scored 21 points in a 21-14 win. He averages under 229 passing yards per game against Vic Fangio-led defenses, and the Chiefs are averaging like 26 points per game, which is good. But with what we know this Eagles offense can do, you hold the Chiefs to 24-ish points, 25 points in that range, you're going to have a very good opportunity to go and win this game. Agreed, TR. It does not tell even a fraction of the story for the most part. And let's be honest, let's call it what it is. Those defenses that Vic Fangio has had in the past in those 8 matchups, they're not like this defense. Like, yes, Vic gets credit for turning this defense into what it is, but the players get just as much respect and just as much credit and for how talented they are for his defense to be able to execute the way it does. Yeah, sounds more like a Tua and the Denver Broncos when he was there type of issue, man. But those are the numbers. I would say this, Scotty. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Not only is the passing defense arguably the biggest difference, Saquon Barkley's hard to argue against this as the biggest difference, but the pass defense, the defense as a whole, man, is the biggest difference for me. And what I wanted to say to you earlier is, the Eagles are number 1 in total defense this year. The Chiefs are 9. They're top 10. Passing defense, the Eagles are first. The Chiefs are a little vulnerable there. They're 18th. Run defense, the Chiefs are slightly better. They're 8th. The Eagles are 10th against the run, okay? Scoring defense, both teams, Eagles 2nd, Chiefs 4th. Red zone defense, Eagles 5th, Chiefs 8th. They're very, very close. Here, and we're going to talk about it a lot next week, and I'm sure on the pregame show. Here is where the Eagles can win the football game. Third down defense. The Philadelphia Eagles were 3rd this season on third down defense. The Kansas City Chiefs, I lost them for a second. There they are. Were 26th third down defense this season. In the postseason, the Chiefs' third down defense, the playoff rate is at 48.4%. Almost 50% of the time this postseason, teams are advancing the ball on third downs against this defense. That is the biggest difference. And through the air, right? 1st versus 18th, and there is where this Eagles defense and offense against that defense can take advantage. What's that mean to you? Extending drives, clock management, keeping Mahomes on the sideline. All of that can play a factor in this Eagles game plan, man.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what we're talking about when we go to the coaches, man. And obviously, you're going to give the advantage to the KC side when it comes to coaching. But I think this is a moment where Nick Sirianni can really, really lock in, prove himself. Kellen Moore, especially, can really lock in. It's a proven moment for all of these guys, quite honestly. Vic Fangio, to your point, it doesn't add all the context, but he is 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. So, this would be a mountain to kind of climb to the top of if they're able to win this game for Vic Fangio even. So, I think you got to come out and all you have to do is come out and do what you've done all season.
Because what did we just break down, man? You are the more balanced and loaded roster. You're the better team. Now it's down. It's down to execution. It's doing what you've done, and it's not getting outside of yourself. I forget who brought it up. I think it was on Get Up earlier in the week. And I know sometimes, especially national media, we have some gripes with them and what they talk about. But I forget who was mentioning it, but was basically saying, can the Eagles stick with what they've done all year long and not get outside of themselves? And It's what teams tend to do against the Chiefs. I don't know why. But you had James Cook running for, 7 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry last week. I think he ran the ball 11 times in a close ball game.
Yeah.
Why you cannot get into a pissing contest trying to outthrow this team. And I know the numbers would suggest that their run defense is much better than their pass defense. That's what it would tell you. Joe Mixon had a pretty good game in the divisional round. James Cook was gashing him when he got the ball last round. They are vulnerable. You add in this offensive line, bully the fucking bullies. I do not want to be on the wrong side of history, man. Do what you guys have done all year long, and that is run the ball specifically to 2-6. Obviously, we have a lot to discuss next week about that, but that's what you do. Don't get outside of yourselves, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's exactly what I was hitting. Just go out and execute. You're gonna have to run the football, man. That's what it comes down to. But I think that's something that the Eagles showed all season. While the Bills, yes, they did show the proneness to go out and run the football this year. James Cook had a great year. They didn't try to do all the extra stuff that they've done with Josh Allen in the past, but you would have games still where Josh Allen would have to go out there, Superman it up, and have this crazy ass game. And so when you get into these games against Patrick Mahomes, all of a sudden it feels like you got to do that. And maybe, just maybe, Dylan, maybe that was the problem in the first Super Bowl when Jalen Hurts has to go Herculean effort. Yep. And we really should have probably just focused on running the football.
Right, and you couldn't. Sanders got hurt. Yeah,
with Miles Sanders, right, and what was going on there, the field conditions as well.
Right.
It turned into a shootout, and that's not what you want to get into with this team. Now, I think the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, have shown maturity this year.
Yep.
A lot of it has to do with having Saquon Barkley as well, but they don't give in to pressure from the outside. They don't give in to pressure from the fan base to go out and look like they have this prolific passing attack. They don't care about it. They care about it as much as to use it to win games when it is necessary. So yes, if the Chiefs are coming out and they are shutting Saquon down, then yeah, we're going to have to amp up the passing game a little bit, which we have shown this season that we can do. Will it be a little different against Kansas City in a big ass game? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'll stop you there, and I'll say the same thing I said for the Commanders. And I know it's a lot different. I understand the Chiefs have a better defense. They have better coaching staff. They're going to have these guys ready to go. You're not stopping Saquon Barkley.
No,
man.
you're not.
You're not. So you can list it as a key to victory.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck you want with the sentence stop.
You know what people love to say, Scotty? Because I heard it earlier in the week, because Nick Wright, he's a Chiefs fan, and he comes out and he says this thing that, they're not going to, allow that to happen, and Saquon won't have the success. Colin Cowherd, the day after the conference championship game, the Eagles might not even get into the red zone against this defense. All this shit, right? People love, and then I heard the argument, well, yeah, but against Washington, he had that long run, and then they kind of bottled. Brother, you don't it's the same argument that Chris Sims and Micah Parsons were saying. Well, if you take this away, you don't just get to magically take away the 60-yard touchdown run. Were the Rams bottling him up outside of the 60 and 78? You don't just get to magically make those plays disappear. Right. Those are game-altering, game-swinging type of runs. It's no different as if Jalen Hurts dropped back and threw a deep ball to A.J. Brown, and he took it 70 yards to the house. But outside of that, Jalen was averaging 5 yards per pass. Oh, well, they limit. No, you don't just get to strip those plays away. That's part of what happened. So no one's stopping this dude, man. I don't care what they try to do. And that passing defense is statistically where they are weak. He had success against some of these guys last go around in 22. The Eagles beat them in Arrowhead last year. If you try to load the box and make sure you are slowing down 26, I have all the confidence in 1, 6, 11, and 88 to go get the job done through the air in this one. But to your point, what? We're in the last game of the calendar season.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been done already? If everyone and their mother knows that the Eagles are going to give the ball to 26. Why hasn't it been slowed down or stopped yet?
Exactly, man. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, you have a Hall of Fame level offensive line. You have a Hall of Fame level running back. You're going to run the football in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to break it to you, Chiefs fans. Chiefs out there, you're going to get the ball ran on you. Maybe not 200 rushing yards, right? Like maybe not. Maybe just 150. I will say this, though. It's the last game of the season, man. You take the training wheels. Not that they haven't been taken off of Saquon. If he can go for 35 carries in this, you can.
You do. He is.
40 touches is crazy. Don't get me wrong.
No, but
35 touches, so like whatever it takes.
Yeah, he's like he might have to be like the camel in the desert, like the mule, where you're stacking all the shit on its back while it's the last game of the season.
Yeah.
There's nothing to save him for. There's nothing. So to your point, he's not gonna run the ball 32 times in the Super Bowl. Should he be running the ball 25 times, 27 times in the Super Bowl? Correct. And it's going to be interesting. To Hunter's point, man, like that's the other thing. It's not just Saquon Barkley. It's the best offensive line in football. So why hasn't anyone else figured that out? You know what I mean? Like, if it's let's just load the box. They don't care if you load the box. No. They don't. And then Nick and Kellen, they're going to use that leverage against you like they did against the Rams and the Packers and the Commanders. You can load the box all you want. And Jalen's diagnosing it at the line, and they're changing shit. And then those are the big runs that are coming. You can't stop it. And it's not just going to be solved next Sunday, man.
The Eagles started the game against Washington in shotgun.
Yep.
Jalen saw the formation. He switched out of the play, got into I formation, and did a crack toss to Saquon Barkley for a 60-yard touchdown. Like,
correct.
Stack the box. We'll open up the pass. Like it's what we've done all season, man. But to your point, to my point, this is what we've been doing all year. This is what Martians have been saying. Line that shit up. It becomes almost too simple, man. It
really is
when the Eagles
really is and
like this as the bully, you know.
And when I brought that point up about not getting outside of yourselves, and I know that TR had mentioned they didn't against the Ravens and in other examples, that's true. The point that the guy was making, that what I'm trying to get at, is against the Chiefs. This isn't the Ravens, this isn't the Bills, this isn't against that team, against that man, that coach. For some reason, teams just get outside themselves when they're lined up against them. Don't do that. And I think losing that first Super Bowl, I think the end of last year, I think the growth and maturity of the quarterback, the energy of the quarterback, like you said, that clip, bro. I mean, I'll go to war with this dude. Like literally, he's the man, and Nick is dialed in. I don't know if you saw the clip of like the whole week they heading into the NFC Championship, Nick's speech to start, and then everything, like the growth and maturity of the coach from last Super Bowl and everything they've been through to right now. I agree, TR. I agree, Hunter. Scotty, I agree. I don't think they're going to get outside of themselves. I think they're going to do what's got them here. And that's how you go down, right? You go down with the ship at this point.
Exactly.
If the Chiefs somehow find a way to stop it, I tip my cap to you.
Exactly.
If the Chiefs beat us 24-20 and they slow down the rushing attack, I tip my cap to you. But I am not going to do something different than something that has gotten me here and start slinging the rock 38 times in this game.
Exactly. That's the type of thing that will make me sick if we lose playing like that, just to play like that, right?
Yep.
You don't need to do that. And that would be something that would be a step back for Sirianni and company to go out and act like that in this game to that point, because they've shown that they won't. They've shown that
because at that point in time, now the season's over. Now we're back in the hypotheticals, and it's 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. But if we get out of what we do and we lose a 2 or 3 point game because we threw the ball 40 times, now I got questions on why did the head coach do this? Is this what he does in the big game? Does he get outside? No. Just do what you've done, and it will lead to success, man. It's the ESPN indicator, which always makes me laugh. The Chiefs are 1.5 favorites in this game. You get to the matchup predictor. The Eagles have a 56.1% chance of winning. The Chiefs have a 43.9% chance of winning. However, that makes sense on the same website, the same app. I don't know. But that's what they have
The
on, man.
the aura of the Chiefs.
Yeah. And as we get into this week of breaking the game down more, which we will, we'll talk way more Saquon and Jalen and the defense and Mahomes.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you. How much of the aura plays a factor in this? Like, how much do you think that will play a factor with this Eagles team? Because you do have the young guys. You have the Quinyons. You have the Cooper DeJeans, right, that haven't been to the Super Bowl yet. Jalen Carter hasn't been to the Super Bowl yet, right? So, like, how do you think they fare just walking into this game against that guy, Patrick Mahomes? Like, how do you not get ahead of yourself in that situation?
I think they're just different, man. Like, we're talking about guys, we're talking about kids that are. I mean, my birthday's next Friday. Cooper DeJean's birthday is on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How old's Cooper DeJean right now? Is he turning 23? Is he turning 22? Like, I don't know how, like, you're talking like I'm 5 or 6 years older than some of these guys. Right. And I don't feel mature enough to go face off against Patrick Mahomes if I was talented enough to, right? So I get it. But that's the difference in what Howie has created and the type of dudes we have in this locker room. Hey, I promise, if there's like, you know, Cooper, you don't really know him. He's a quiet kid, whatever. If there's one dude that don't give a fuck who's across the line, that's 98. 98 doesn't give two shits who's lined up across from him. I don't think 27 gives a fuck either who's throwing his way either. And I think the same with DeJean, man. Like Cooper, bro. Cooper plays in the NFC Championship game, has been a dog this season. The next night is riding a Zamboni at the Flyers game, probably because they asked him to. The next day is at CHOP with a couple of his teammates visiting little kids. And now it's back to business. Like this, I'm talking about a kid 5 or 6 years younger than I am today.
Yeah.
And all this shit. I just think these dudes are different. Their level of talent is different. Their mindsets are different. They don't care who that is because it's the Super Bowl. I get it. It's the glamour. It's the lights. It's everything on the line. They went in the ball. I mean, that's a 2-time, possible 3-time MVP. That's Derrick Henry. They didn't seem to give a fuck when those dudes were lined up against them. They didn't seem to care when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were lined up against them on the road. They didn't seem to care when, so I just think they've had the resume built this year. They've passed all the tests, and I think that they will be ready to go next Sunday and won't have some of those jitters. And then you got guys like Nick and Jalen and the guys who lost last go around. Again, you've been there, right? Against this team. So yeah.
I think you've also I'll add something on there, and it's adding on to what Martian just commented there as well. We've had several moments in these playoffs where the defense could have fallen apart. Like the Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry touchdown in the second quarter.
The Puka Nacua catch almost sent us home.
The Cooper Kupp catch on his back, right? Like, I think even against the Packers, a guy made an unbelievable play.
Yeah.
There were several points throughout this postseason where they could revert back to something we have seen in the past, right? Which is a fraudulent-ass defense. And that's just something that in those moments, specifically at the end of the game against the Rams, Isaiah Rodgers in the game, no Quinyon Mitchell, right? Jalen Carter steps up to the plate, makes plays.
Right.
Zach Bond steps up to the plate, makes game-changing plays.
Yep.
It's just
Scotty, bro, on both sides of the ball, and you're talking about the defense right now. I feel like they just have so many guys that have the ability to do this to you.
Yeah.
Like Saquon did it last week.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Jalen Carter sack on Matthew Stafford is this.
Yeah.
The Quinyon Mitchell pick is this. Every play that Zach Bond, they just have so many game-changing, game-altering guys that can bury you. And they show up in big moments, backs against the wall. If the offense turns the ball over, if the special teams unit gives up a big return, they'll hold you to 3, or they'll get a 4th down stop, or they'll create a turnover. They've just done it all year long. They've done it all postseason long. They continue to force teams over this postseason at a ridiculous clip. Bro, have we had a game in 3 games where we haven't had 3 turnovers? Like the Packers, we had 3 turnovers, I believe. 2 minimum, but I believe 3. The Rams, we had 4? 3 or 4? Yeah, 2 fumbles on handoffs.
A
Stafford, no. Stafford.
No interceptions in that one. Was there a fumble on a special teams play?
I think there was. And then last week you had every week in the postseason, they're turning teams over at least 3 times, special teams and defense.
Yeah.
They've been so clutch. And then I'll give you the stat I was saving for now, man. This is from Orlovsky, from our man Hembo. And this is another difference-making number for me when you're talking about our offense and our defense versus theirs. Explosive play margin entering the Super Bowl this year, playoffs included, I believe. The Eagles have a plus 47 explosive play margin. That means their offense creates a bunch and their defense doesn't allow much. The Chiefs have a minus 16. Plus 47, minus 16 explosive play margin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, just do what you do this year.
Yeah.
Just do what you've been doing this year.
I completely agree. And to Martian's point with this, once again, I think this, not to get too deep into keys to victory, but bigger than even the passing game in this Super Bowl, like bigger than the yardage amount or anything like that, is Jalen getting rid of the ball quickly, right? Having guys to go to, having options ready when those blitzes do come, because as Brian mentioned earlier in the show, Spags loves to blitz, whether it's corners, safeties, whatever, linebackers.
Well, so that's the thing, and I heard this earlier as well. I think we do confuse it. They blitz a decent amount, but they're about middle of the pack. I think they're 13th in using the blitz on defense. They're very timely, methodical, and it works. That's why it sticks out to everybody. In big moments, here comes a corner blitz. You know, you're looking one way, it's coming from another direction, loaded on this side. Can you handle those moments? Can you handle those pressures? Jalen's been money in the pocket. Jalen's been money against the blitz this year. Can you continue to handle it?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Because to your point, maybe they amp it up a little bit. Maybe the percentage goes up a bit.
Against
Jalen Hurts. Once again, this stat, which I get confused on the blitz stat with Jalen, because I've seen somebody point out that he's awesome against the blitz.
Yeah.
I've seen this other stat that points out that he's like the worst against the blitz. So I'm confused by it personally, but it was another stat that was thrown out there. His numbers,
maybe it's been like a game-to-game type of stat that I'm seeing on today he was 7 for 10 against the blitz, and maybe another game he was awful against it. Maybe not in totality, we know, but
that's just something I've seen thrown around as a concern against Spags, right? So we'll see how it plays out. I don't want to get it into keys to victory too much here.
No, but they just, man, not only do we not want to be on the wrong side of history, which is the team losing and allowing the Chiefs to three-peat, and being a 2 of those 3 for the three-peat would really suck.
Yeah.
We also have an opportunity to stop history and be on the other side of the history books. We were in the middle of a Patriots three-peat that we stopped. Now we have an opportunity to stop this three-peat. And it would just be crazy, man. It really would, for our only 2 Super Bowls in franchise history, let alone our lifetimes and in the last 7 or 8 years, to come against arguably the 2 greatest quarterback and head coach duos. You knocked off Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and now you have an opportunity to knock off Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Let's also not forget that Carson Wentz is sitting on that bench over there.
Yeah.
I can't have Carson Wentz getting his second ring before Jalen gets one.
Yeah, no.
Not that he's got a goddamn fucking thing to do with it. But I still can't have that. I still can't have that jewelry on his in his desk.
No, I completely agree with you, man. It's an awesome opportunity. I'm glad we get it. You know, there was part of me, you know, that wonders, like, do you really want to play the Chiefs in the biggest stage because of some of the factors that have already been mentioned, like the refs, right? Whatever, the three-peat notion, and obviously just their aura, like they're champions. They've already won.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's always an old saying, but you got to beat the champs to become the champs, and I think that's the situation here, man. It's our time to step up to the pedestal and knock them off. And what that will leave is next season we'll go in and we'll be the champs and we'll be the favorites. But no, at the end of the day, this is an awesome opportunity to once again, obviously, staple your name into history. But every single time that the Chiefs will ever be brought up in the future, the Eagles will be brought up too. And in the fact that they stopped the Chiefs from getting this three-peat will be brought up each and every time. Now, the hope would be that we go on to win our own three-peat, have our own back-to-back championships. So maybe we can be the ones that are talked about in history, but it starts with this game nonetheless. You got to staple and stomp down right now. And as Martian would say, line that shit up, man.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Who's going to go out there and be more physical, impose their will more?
Oh, boy. How many days we got? 9, 8, 10?
Let's not count 10. Today.
10. Yeah, that's not today.
We got the Pro Bowl Sunday. We don't have to count Sunday.
Oh, great. Yippee. Yippee.
I'm just kidding.
Did they do dodgeball yet? Did I miss the dodgeball game?
I've been watching NBA a lot more this week, man. I'm starting to like migrate because it's coming. The end of it.
You're the one keeping their ratings afloat, huh?
Somebody's got to.
I've been on that college basketball wave.
College basketball too, man. Yeah, I feel you. I'm migrating.
Hey, buddy, can I like throw in a little wrinkle at the end of the show for you?
Yeah, what's up?
You know you're getting another ring in March, right? In April. You know.
We might get back to back for him with the recruits, but yeah.
You know you're getting that other ring, right?
Yeah, hey, that's why I need to get this Eagles one, so then the pressure's off Duke.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on Duke no more. But yeah, I'm hoping for 2 this year, my man.
Yeah,
sure.
dude, they're fun to watch. I told you before. It's not like I don't claim Duke anymore. When I was younger, my dad liked Duke, loved Duke. So I grew up like a Duke fan, also liked Nova. Just from being around here, my grandpa liked Nova. I've phased out of the Duke like love, but I still like Duke. Like I'll root for Duke against basically anybody but Nova, probably, even though Nova's not seeing Duke this year. So yeah, I'm excited for it, and it's his team now, bro. Like that's the one thing that's changed is from like, first of all, I don't believe they've lost since that crazy Kansas game. Like I think that was the last. Well, they only have 2, I believe, on the.
Got close against I think when they were in Wake Forest, but that was about it.
But it's like since that game, bro. Like he's had a couple games where he's turned the ball over a few too many times, but it's the 17-year-old show.
Yeah,
I mean he's
crazy.
He's throwing it down on dudes' heads. He's dropping 40 in Cameron.
And he don't say anything.
He's averaging like 20-something a game. He leads them in basically every statistic.
Yeah.
Points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks. He leads them in everything.
And they just have dogs around him. That's the other side of it. I think compared to other seasons for Duke, they have like veterans in there, like Malik Brown, Proctor, the Mason Gillis they got from like Purdue last year.
Well, I see. That's what I was going to say. When he transferred from Purdue, I thought like, oh, that's a big piece. And then I remember watching him getting a year, and I'm like, he's not playing a ton.
Right.
But I believe
he's getting
over
back.
The last like 5-ish games.
Yeah.
He's averaging like 9 or 10 a game, which I know doesn't sound like shit, but it's college. So to those kids, to role players, that's
2 to 3 threes a game. That's success. Like that's all you need.
And then you got the other one. You got Knipple.
Knipple, he's gonna be a top.
What a name, bro!
7 pick as well, bro.
Ron Knipple, brother.
Broken hoop too, man. I'm telling you, he can do. They're fun. A lot of guys that can do it all, but specifically floor. Yeah, it's just good basketball to watch as well. If you love basketball for it, like what it's for.
Basketball needs it too. Basketball needs it. College basketball needs it. Not only do they need like the star to make a run, because I feel like that just doesn't happen. Like they need the star, they need the face to make a March Madness run.
I agree with Brian on this, man. I don't know what's up with the pinky dog. Fake ass injury. But yeah, man, Duke is where all the attention goes, at least until the Sixers.
Yeah, and college basketball needs the villain, bro, because here's the thing. You either love Duke or you hate Duke, and if you hate Duke, those people are going to watch. Like, you know how people with the Chiefs right now, they're the villain? I'm not watching the Super Bowl because the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, first of all, you're going to watch, right? But people say that. People are going to tune in to want to see Duke lose. So basketball, college basketball needs it. It's going to be a lot of fun once March Madness starts to get closer, dude. I don't know who said areola.
Who did say areola?
Titties. I mean, I said it now because you, Martian, but
I mean, whatever.
They weren't on the mind right now.
Areola.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know a sentence in which that would ever come out of my mouth.
What did we say that sounded like areola?
I don't know. Maybe I said area. I don't know. Nipple. That does. Oh, nipple. Maybe
nipple. That's what it is. The nipple. Yes.
Oh, it's It's nipple, brother. That's the name.
We got nipple and no. Brian going crazy. Martian going crazy. It is Friday, though. It is Friday, boys.
No, and I don't think he should. I don't. If you go resume for resume, I don't see a world in which Bob Myers is better than Daryl Morey.
This isn't Daryl Morey's fault.
Yeah, I know.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. I guess it always is.
Well, look. There's some blame to throw. Now we're getting down the Sixers rabbit hole, of course.
Yeah.
But there's some blame to be thrown around, right? Apparently we knew of Joel's knee extent, and then we gave him the max extension.
Yeah.
You were seeing the Paul George health play out. You gave him a 4-year max. No one else would. So there are some of these things, but at the same time, man, what were we saying back in August, in September?
Yeah.
This is the greatest. So we can't go from that to now he sucks because he did some of this.
Because
also 4 games out of the 6th seed. Martian? 4 games out of the 6th seed. No Joel, no PG.
4-game win streak.
4-game win streak. Maxi's going berserk.
Over 13 straight games of Maxi plus.
I will say.
All-star snub, Maxi. That's what we get for the rest of the season.
I have not watched more than about 25 seconds of Sixers basketball in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So
I've watched the last 4. I've been enjoying it.
Oh, so yeah. He gets the credit for the win.
I've been enjoying it, Dylan.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've watched a lot of the L's beforehand.
Yeah.
But I did hop right back in when they played the Cavs, started there. Then you go to Bulls. Paul George gets injured. But, yeah, I watched the back-to-back this week because there was nothing else. Really. There was college ball. But I'll watch the Sixers if they're going to win some games, man. If Maxi's going to give me performances like this, I'm in. But Embiid's supposed to be back next week.
Yeah.
Supposed to.
Yeah. And then I'm going to need him to play the remaining 30 games.
Couldn't come out tonight against the Nuggets, though, right?
Yeah. Come on, dude.
Let me not start. But they've been doing a good job covering the spread, right?
Spread. Eric Gordon, post wisdom tooth removal, looks like a new guy.
Yeah, he's hitting logo threes.
Yeah, what we envisioned.
They need to.
By the way, this is also here's the other thing. I'm not trying to just jump back on because, like I said, I haven't been watching them. And maybe that'll change soon. Hopefully. But this is not just without Joel and PG. Drummond's still out.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin hasn't played in a minute. So they've been far from even close to healthy. So we'll see. We're covering all the teams. No, Torts ain't ruining Mitch Gava. He does it because he loves them. That's what he says. They got a little back and forth last night. Flyers, by the way, let's just get this out in the open because they did make a big time trade last night. Not in terms of bringing people in to go on this run. The Flyers, it seems, are going they are divulging into the rebuild now. I don't know what was the wait, why it took into February. Basically, Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee are no longer Flyers. I don't know if you knew that, Scotty. They got traded last night. So I don't know if you know who those guys are or not, but they
I do. I did
know the names.
Got traded, but
they got traded last night, and it seems like rebuild time is in full effect. 2025, I don't know the exact number of picks they have, but they have a shit ton, which is all the talk right now. You have to hit on those. You have to hit on a few of those, and if not, I don't know where you go. So
I won't start paying attention now. I'll wait a year.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Hockey's just not for me unless we are winning. I am a front runner when it comes to hockey, man. But
I mean, I'll look at what I'm doing with the Sixers right now, but that's not because of winning. And I will say this to Martian. we say this, and you're not necessarily wrong. Like, we get a Super Bowl, I am good, right, for right now. But you let 3 months pass after the Super Bowl win, and the Sixers are in the play-in or something. Well, now I'm back. You know what I mean? Now it's like, now I want this. Like, the Phillies come October. Yeah, okay, I got my Super Bowl ring. I still want. I want more. I'm greedy, bro. So what I would say.
All it takes is a first-round matchup in the postseason against the Celtics or the Knicks or something like that. Embiid's healthy and playing, and Paul George is back right in time for the postseason, and we'll be bought in.
Oh, yeah.
But
what I would say to this, though, it's not that I can't wait to not care till after the Super Bowl win. It's that I don't care right now because of the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you add in all the drama and the bad Sixers play. If the Eagles weren't still in the playoffs, I'd probably be watching the Sixers right now, even though they pissed me off.
Yeah.
You're giving me drama and bad play for a long stretch, and I got a team going to a Super Bowl. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about the Tuesday night game right now. But like you said,
like I'm looking forward to watching tonight, man. Yeah. Like they might get blown out by the Nuggets. They might. But Maxey has been lifting this team up against better teams without Paul George, without Embiid. It's been fun to watch. They're playing hard. You have to, right? Like you have to. You have
finally, because that was the thing, right? Over that stretch, like a week, 2 weeks ago, man, it looked like this team was quitting.
Yeah, they had lost like 5 in a row, 6 in a row.
It looked like they were quitting. Yeah. So if you haven't quit on me, I won't quit on you. Like you said, you give me the 6 or 7 seed. You win the play-in, you're the 7 seed, you get the 6 seed, and Joel and PG and Caleb and all are healthy. All I'm going to be envisioning is the Christmas Day Boston game. And here we go, boys, strap in.
We're on a game-by-game basis, right? Like, if they would have went out and got blown out by the Cavs on last Saturday or when that was, I wouldn't have watched the game against the Bulls. Yeah. If they lose that game against the Bulls, I'm not watching the game against the Lakers, and then so on and so forth.
The rope just keeps extending.
They've earned me for a 2-game span. So you lose this one, I'll still come back. I promise. But if they lose 2 in a row, I'll begin to not care again.
Yeah, because
that's what it is. If they're winning, they're on a 4-game win streak. I'm loving it. If they lose, no, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. like that's where it's at for me. Like if they lose, then I'll just ignore them. But if they win, I'm in. I'll watch, man. I'll root.
All right, you might have convinced me. It's a Friday night. I got plans tomorrow. I don't got plans tonight, so I guess I'll sit in and watch this one.
Duke and UNC tomorrow, man.
Yeah. It's a big time, brother. Big time. Royal Rumble tomorrow.
We're gonna fucking dog UNC, man. Like I'm excited for it, but it's not gonna be the game that you like the national audience.
Oh no.
We're gonna dog walk these motherfuckers, and I'm gonna enjoy every single second of it.
So. Yeah, I'm gonna flash back to my childhood. I'm gonna day drink, and then that's not a flashback to my childhood. That sounded very wrong. No. What I meant was no. I wasn't day drinking as a young kid. Okay, I'm gonna day drink. And then I'm going to flash back to my childhood and watch the Royal Rumble. Wrestling week. I don't watch it, bro. I watch 2 events all year. I watch the Rumble and I watch WrestleMania simply because I have to. I just can't miss it. So I'll watch the Royal Rumble with some friends tomorrow, and then I'll go out afterwards. If we win, y'all hitting the parade. I'm not going to lie to you. Probably not. I went to the parade back in 2017. I was a miserable prick. Froze my ass off. Didn't really get the drink. Crowded as hell. Had to walk a mile and a half to get to my ride home.
Dylan, I will probably be out there. I won't lie to you.
It depends where.
I went a couple years back. Me and my boy Willie.
Where'd you go?
We ended up man.
Because that's going to be the difference. I'll go. I'll retract my statement. I'll go, but there's no way I'm going. I went right by the art museum last time. And it was just, I was a
crowded down from the art museum. Yeah. I was a couple blocks down, but it was kind of perfect because I found this section right by a beer store.
Yeah, there you go.
where you could go and you could piss behind the dumpster
There
if
you
you
go.
needed to. You could grab some brews and head
There
right
you
back
go.
out.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. But this year, we'll have a few more people. So we'll have like I don't like to use the term.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, not
Angle.
I'm not like outing myself here, but like obviously I drank underage for many years, but like I wasn't 21 at the time. None of my friends really were, so like we slept at St. Joe's as like my one friend was a freshman, and we Ubered to the art museum. We fucked up the beer situation. It's freezing, it's crowded, and I'm like, dude,
yeah,
I had like 2 beers the entire day, and I'm like, this blows. So I'll definitely have to change that if we get another parade. So we'll figure something out.
It's just those. It is entertainment. It's fun. Like I guess the motivation for me to do it is that you don't know when it'll happen again.
Yeah.
That's
1,000%.
the idea behind it. Like
1,000%.
It could be once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So.
If they win, I'll probably have to crash on Scotty's couch, and then we'll have to just Uber down together.
Yeah.
So because here's the thing, you could be like, yo, bro, I'll meet you down there. We're never finding each other.
Where the fuck are you meeting? Yeah,
never finding each other.
Ahead of time.
I could stand under a street sign and tell you, yo, bro, I'm right here. Not finding you. So
Cero, man, that's the plan. I'm planning to like be with him and his wife.
Not to get ahead of ourselves. We gotta
we gotta win. We
gotta
win. But I'm confident, man. Let's get it.
All right. We said this was gonna be a half-hour show.
Yeah, I gotta get to work, man.
71 minutes, guys. If you are new to the channel, make sure to follow us on Twitter at DSM_Media. Check out the link tree. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We will be back live on Monday. We'll probably be streaming Sunday on a Turf Talk show. Just running through this playoff, some coaching changes, stuff like that. And then we'll be back to business for the Birds. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Yes, sir. Peace, everybody. Go Birds.